Hey, what's good, everybody? It's BDF44 coming at you. This is a non-sports conversation here. I don't even think it's a conversation. This is just me wanting to say some things. Um, I'm not a parent. I don't have children, and I'd love to have children one day, but I would never assume that I know what it takes to raise a child. I do not. You have to go through that kind of thing to know, and so I'll start my statement there. Then I'll proceed to say this. Parents, if especially those of us who've gone through some hard and tough times, people who've gone through rough childhoods, particularly, you are not protecting your child by keeping from them what they need to know to maneuver through the world properly. Don't allow your kids to suck at life. My mother loved me a great deal, and because of it, she tried to protect me from a lot of things. It was the best she knew how to do, it was the best she could. But as I've gotten older, and this is just what it is, I've realized that I've missed some very key adult skills, knowledge, things that I think most people my age should know. I'm just learning and or don't know. And it was because my mom made it a point to try to keep stresses of bills, credit, insurance, all of those type of things were so foreign to me. She kept nice things in my face, like video games and basketball and things like that. In terms of just who I was as a kid, I had issues, so I didn't want to go to school ever. And instead of fighting me about it continuously, she just kind of left it up to the Lord, more or less, in regards to my education. You got to fight your kids if they don't want to get an education. You got to fight them for them. Because if it's all about what's best for them, then that tough love and that strenuous breaking down of weakness and building up of intellect and information is ultimately what will make it so that they don't have so many headaches for the rest of their life. And most importantly, when they're responsible for someone, they can pass that information and that knowledge to them. So that's all I want to say. I love my mom. Rest in peace. And we had this conversation before she passed. So this is not something I didn't discuss with her at length. And I understood her position on how difficult it was for her to deal with me growing up, because I was so unique. I had a lot going on in my head, and it was rough. And I don't assume that I knew what to do with me if I were a grown man in that position. I don't know how I would approach a kid with my type of head, but I'll tell you this. Now the stuff that I needed was the same stuff that she tried to protect me from. The stresses of certain things that adults need to know, I didn't look for on my own because I wasn't tasked with the practice of research, the practice of actually doing homework and all those type of things that help you be more prepared. Those are not practices that I had naturally. That's foreign. That's like pulling teeth for me, unfortunately. And I think that's the blessing and the curse of being who I am, because I'm articulate enough to tell you how dumb I am. I know exactly how dumb I am. I know for a fact that there are things I need to know just to be able to be better at life. And even though I speak very clearly, it's amazing that I even do, with the little schooling as I allowed myself to endure. And when you miss steps in school and you miss things in terms of your education, it will affect you when you're in your 20s and late 20s and early 30s and mid 30s, like I'm in right now. Like, education, man. I don't know what the best way to go about getting your education is, but I do know you got to get that stuff in your head, and you got to go through the process of developing the habits of challenging yourself intellectually, so that it isn't so strenuous when it's too late to learn new tricks, I guess is what I'm saying. So I just want to encourage parents to although you want to give your kids a peaceful childhood, throw in a little bit of balance for the ills and the stresses of being an adult. Sit them down. Show them how to use whatever they need to use. Tell them the importance of education. Tell them the importance of credit. Give them the importance of having your insurance situation taken care of. Let them understand that being on time and getting up early in the morning and having those habits of not being so dependent on your own comfort Let them understand how beneficial it is to fight through that stuff as a child, so that they don't end up in the space that I find myself in right now, desperately trying to fight through my own weaknesses because I just don't simply have the right habits. Now, I'm not saying that I'm giving up in any way or that it's hopeless if you're raised like me, because my mother gave me a lot of things that I found a lot of people do not have. So it was a balance that she gave me, and I'm happy that I had the mom that I had, and I was blessed with a great mother. And my father was not present in my life, which does play a part into why I need to know certain things that I don't at this moment. But it wasn't a bad situation in terms of my mom's relationship with my father. So I want to preface that by saying I had a great dad too, who raised his kids, all of us, in his own way, whether he was able to do so in the home or if he was able to extend his love from afar. He definitely made sure his kids knew that they were loved and that they were welcome to speak to him. So, for whatever that's worth, you take that for what it is. But, my mother did a great job in terms of raising me to be a person who knows that he should be doing better, who understands that there are things he needs to work on, and that there's a level that I need to reach that I'm not yet at. So I'm happy telling people that I'm struggling, because I know that when I get to a point where I'm not struggling, I'll be able to also admit that I'm doing well. Some consistency with my truth. It's like, hey, I'm not doing well right now. I had a situation where I was doing well not so long ago, but I didn't go ahead and take care of some things up here that would have allowed me to operate more effectively in my day-to-day. So, yeah, man, I'm going to go get myself some help. I encourage anybody who needs a psychological support or someone to speak to or anything like that. Don't wait. If you got to work through some traumas from your childhood, if you got to work through some ignorance that you've just now come to terms with, some things, maybe you were raised in a household where people hate each other or hate others or have irrational things that they believe in that you no longer think apply to your life. Go get those things sorted out. It is possible to sort those things out. You don't have to sit in your own suffering. And for a long time, I'd say for about 34 years of my entire life, I've sat in my own suffering. I've had issues up here for so long, and I've never been the type of person to tell people that I was fine when I'm not. But they look at me, they say, okay, well, this guy he could speak. He's articulate. He's personable. He understands parameters. He gives people space. He's not a weirdo in that way. So he's fine. And I'm telling you, I'm far from. Struggling more now with things that I should have dealt with a long time ago than I ever would have if I would have dealt with those things. So who knows what comes of me? But understand this. For every bit of struggling that I'm going through, there's an understanding that I don't want my kids to struggle. And if I have to take a little bit of their childhood bliss away from them in order for them to be a bit more prepared for what may be in their future, or if I'm going to put them through grueling schooling or whatever that may not be so fun as a child, I have to give some thought as to how to go about that if I ever become a parent. But sometimes I just look at what I've been through and say, man, my mom made it very comfortable for me. And she was very sweet in that regard because she knew I had been through some traumatic things in my very early stages. But two things I needed that I didn't get. I didn't challenge myself enough. I didn't find myself in situations where I was being challenged and forced to not quit things. And I prioritize my comfort above some of the most important aspects of my future. And another thing that I didn't have that I needed was just a sense of understanding of what my responsibilities were growing up as a man. And they say a woman can't teach a man how to be a man. I've seen women raise great men. So that's not something I partake in regards to believing that. I don't believe that. But what I will say is women have to do a great job of understanding what a man needs. And a man needs to first stand on his own 2 feet. You can coddle a kid all you want and you're going to raise a weak man. You're going to raise a man that struggles, who does not understand what his responsibilities are. And it's going to affect him when it's time for him to go out and start a family of his own. It's going to affect him when he's trying to pick a partner and that partner's looking at him like, what are you going to do for us? And he's sitting there saying, well, I'm used to not doing anything at all because my mother made it very comfortable for me. My mother made sure that I didn't stress. It was love, but it was poorly executed if you live that way, if you were raised that way. And though I love my mother, this ain't a bashing mom conversation. There's certain things that just have to be understood in regards to myself. And going forward in the spirit of full disclosure, I just have to be challenged and challenge myself to learn the basics all over again. Things that I never learned in school that would have helped me a great deal. So if you're like that, if you're in a space where you miss some things, you're a grown man, you don't know how to change a tire or some stuff like that, don't feel bad about what you don't know, but more so see the possibility in being someone who learns going forward, someone who can change their bad habits, or who can put themselves in a position to do better going forward. You can, but the challenge is just that, a challenge. And if you're not used to facing challenges, if you're not the type of person that allows yourself to face challenges, then there's really no way to gain the resolve needed to face challenges going forward. And you will just be weaker and weaker and more vulnerable to the consequences of not doing so. And so that's all I want to say, you guys. Raise your kids the best you can. Do it with your heart. Like I said, I'm not a father. Love to be one day, but I'm not there yet. So, and this is a part of it. These shortcomings that I've described to you is probably why I'm not a dad yet. So, yeah, everybody go get some help. I'm going to do the same. And if you have anything you want to share, I hope that I encourage people to be open. You know, a lot of us hide what we go through. A lot of us like to lie about what it is that we can do and cannot do in this world, or go about trying to just get a feel for things as we go along and end up doing them wrong and learning from mistakes that we make. I don't know what's right or wrong in that regard, but I'm just saying, if you need to accept some things about yourself, just know that you're not alone. That I've come to learn some things that are not so kind in regards to myself, and the only way I can change those things is by first admitting it, acknowledging it, forgiving myself for it, and then accepting help as it comes my way. So, and of course, if you're a spiritual person, prayer comes before all of that. So I've done my part in some of those areas, and I'm working on taking care of others. But yeah, man, it's a struggle. It's a struggle. Challenge yourself so you'll have that resolve, so you don't sit up second guessing your every move, so you don't find yourself thinking bad about yourself because of what you don't know. Don't ever feel that way. Just go get what you need. It's there. Google's there, YouTube's there. There's nothing that you can't learn in this world right now. And so that's the beauty of it. I understand that, and I'm on a quest to figure out some things that I missed along the way. So I hope you guys feel me, I guess, and know that I'm not satisfied with myself, not by any stretch of the imagination. I believe in my talents, but I've had a hard time believing in my capability of executing the process of becoming who I need to be. But this was a big step, starting this channel. When I first started, I wasn't comfortable. Now I get on here and I find it to be very therapeutic to speak to you guys, whether I'm talking about basketball or not. So I know that as I continue to stay consistent and as I continue to grow as a person, you'll grow. The subscription base will grow, and hopefully we'll grow as people together, whether it be through sports or other topics. But this is BDF 44 coming at you, man. Open book, man. I got a lot of issues, but a lot of things that I want to do in this world, and I can't do them unless I face my issues. So you have a purpose as well. I hope you find it, and I hope you can just deal with whatever is going on in your world, and know that you got my support. All right, take care, everybody. Peace, and yeah, that's about it.